We've been married 25 years and we have 4 biological kids. Jordan and Isaiah are twins, Joseph, and then Belen. And then more recently, we've started fostering and have a little foster boy right now.
I was in the prayer room at our church when someone prayed for fostering. And then someone right next to me said, "And God, show us we're the answer to our own prayers." And I just started weeping. It was so like gripping to me. And I came home and I said, "Honey, I cannot deny that this is just a huge passion of mine. Are you willing to explore this?"
I think the thing that really pushed me over the edge was I had been thinking about the reality that the church in our country could easily take care of the entire challenge, problem, or opportunity with regards to fostering. And I was finding myself wishing the church would step up and that the church would meet this need. And at the same time, feeling personally convicted that if I'm not willing to be part of the solution, then it's hypocritical for me to long for the church to solve the macro problem of the foster need.
We finally got our first little girl, and they dropped her off at 10:30 p.m. I cried because she was so beautiful. She was just so precious. And I felt like Jesus said to me, "This is me." This was one of the least of these that he talks about. And so we ended up having her for 8.5 months. And then we transitioned her to her forever family. And the grief of that hit me way harder than I was expecting. I thought I would be happy. We had just completed our first placement and transitioned her. And I ended up grieving like I had lost a biological child.
I think one of the things that we've learned the hard way is that the foster experience represents pain. If we foster a child and they end up being replaced with their parents, and it's a great thing, that still represents pain. If we continue to foster, there's an element of pain in that. And I think we kind of went into it thinking we should probably protect ourselves. And part of that protection is not growing too attached to these kids. And yet, for me, with our first long-term placement, that she actually, the little girl, sort of destroyed that notion and concept for me. And it happened through the way that she would look at me, the way that she would grab my beard and just laugh. And I realized this is not possible. For one, I can't keep myself from growing attached to this little girl. And I also became convinced that in this stage of their lives, it's so important for them to feel safe, to feel the love of a mom and a dad, that it is better for us to lay ourselves out there, put ourselves out there and be that mom and dad for them, even if we won't be a year from now, because I do think that the best thing for this child is actually that we would open our hearts fully to them and that we would attach to them. And I felt challenged as a foster dad to love this child as I would love a biological child, and do so knowing that that likely means more pain whenever this ends. And that's okay, because that's best for this child.
I think that as we do our own work with God and we let him transform our pain, then we can be an agent of healing for all the relationships in our lives. Whether that's fostering for us, but also friendships, people in our community groups, anybody that God brings along in our life that we can have a connection with. So many people have trauma and pain that they're dealing with. And as we have been healed by God, we can offer that to them. And it can just extend to so many different relationships, not just, our own children or foster children.